Hey people. So I haven't done this for a while. I haven't done it for this last previous films I've been watching. Beginning around last year, I said I'd start to make a review for each film I watched. Well, I skipped a few films unintentionally. So I want to continue this. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about the film I have just watched. Um, I'm going to say from the outset there will be spoilers in this. So if you haven't seen the film, I repeat, if you haven't seen the film, stop watching this video now because I'm going to talk about the details of the film. This is just more to share my thoughts with those who have seen it. Okay, I rate Southpaw 7.5 to 8 out of 10. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I give Southpaw, so I give quite a high ranking. I think it's a pretty good film overall. Um, Basically, the synopsis is that it's about a champion light heavyweight boxer, Billy Hope. I guess Hope is a play on the adjective sort of lends into the name of the title character. Anyway, he's a light heavyweight boxer, real aggressive style, tough as nails, obviously. Um, and he's 43 and 0, so really tough guy. He seems to be managed by his wife. Um, anyway, it sort of shows him winning a fight. Then back in the changing room, he's kind of quite shattered by it. Although it's a win, he's showing the signs of a veteran fighter who's been through a lot. And you sort of get the impression the wife is concerned about that. Um, anyway, things all go hellish afterwards. Um, his main rival in the boxing world is this Colombian guy, who's a rising prospect, a rising challenger, and basically there's a fracas in a hotel um, between the title character and the challenger, who's a real trash talker type. And the fracas ensues, and there's gunshots. Still unclear. The film never shows exactly who that comes from, which leaves you wondering. But there's gunshots, and the wife is killed. So this is really heavy stuff. Um, this is maybe the first 25 minutes of the film. It gives a bit of the backdrop. He's a successful fighter, so he has a mansion. He's got a young daughter. Um, I'll say a bit more about her at the end, but just to finish the synopsis, basically everything goes hellish. He gets into this really dark world. Obviously, his wife has died. He's very bitter. He's very vindictive. He wants revenge. Doesn't trust anyone around him. It's not explicitly implied, but you get the impression that he's drinking, using drugs. Um, the little girl's taken into custody because he's seen as volatile. So everything just goes hellish for him. He ends up in this dive in an inner city area. He goes to the gym of one of his rivals, actually, and the gym owner is Forrest Whitaker. Um, Anyway, he ends up taking the opportunity again. There's a sort of predator type boxing promoter that he had been not friends but connected with, who offers him this fight. Of course, Forrest Whitaker is against it, but he trains him, and there's an explosive fight at the end between him and the Colombian guy. And of course, he wins. Um, I didn't see the interview in print, but I just saw a headline saying that Oscar de la Hoya has been a bit critical of this, saying that there's too many cliches in it. Having seen the film and having seen a lot of boxing films, I do understand what he's saying because it's not that original in terms of champion fighter falls on hard times, builds himself up again. The truth is, it's quite difficult to make a very original boxing film because some of the general themes are going to be in there. Um, Nevertheless, I do rate it highly. I do think that I put it, for example, higher than Rocky Balboa, which I believe was a good film. I believe this was one of the best boxing films I've seen. I'm not going to say the best because there's a tough, I haven't quite made a decision on that, but it would certainly be well up there. If you're into boxing, watch this film. I think the fight scenes are realistic. Jake Gyllenhaal, you can tell he's really, really been taking this role seriously. I mean, I don't know if it's CGI, but he looks really buff in this. He looks like really, um, like a white Mike Tyson, basically. He's really pumped up Some of the training techniques are quite original, but in terms of the sort of rags to riches to rags to riches thing, that I think that's what Oscar de la Hoya was getting at. Nevertheless, this is a world of boxing. It's the toughest of tough sports, and I do applaud the film for covering some of the seedier elements of the boxing world, which, as a boxing fan, I need to absolutely concede is reality. There is very dark side of the sport, and the film doesn't shy away. Um, any critique of the film? Well, I would say 70% of the film is heavy going. It's not particularly a feel good film for a large part of it. Another side, which I'd be slightly critical of, is the main character is not that easy to warm to. He's not exactly a good guy. Even before everything goes wrong, you kind of get the impression. Well, there's one point, for example, everything goes wrong after his wife dies, and he headbutts a referee. Now, there's aspects to this. He also pulls a gun on his one of his close friends, and there's all these sort of behavioural things, which I think is very realistic. But he is not always the most sympathetic of characters. He acts like an outright thug at times. However, you need to take into context everything that's going on in his life, and I think it also raises important issues outside the boxing world, such as um, family courts, child custody. Except, of course, this isn't about divorce. This is about someone being deceased. So it's a very psychological film, and it is not, it's not an easy film to watch. It's a heavy film to watch, not just because the fight scenes are very realistic, but there is a lot of pretty heavy scenes in it, and they do not shy away from drama. Incidentally, the director is Antoine Fucha. I'm not sure how his name is pronounced, but I know him from King Arthur, so I do have respect for his directing skills. Um, yeah, overall, it's a good film. It has a good ending because the little girl, uh, she she's all bitter with her father because everything's gone wrong. She reconciles. I guess she's meant to be about 10 years old. She reconciles. She comes to the fight. One thing, and this is just a very trivial thing, but the little girl does not look like she's related to either Jake Gyllenhaal or his wife. His wife is a busty blonde woman, and Jake Gyllenhaal's a really buff, light heavyweight boxer. The little girl is speckled and has dark hair. I don't know. She just doesn't look like she is their daughter. Now maybe I missed something in the film. Maybe, as far as I know, she's not meant to be adopted or anything like that. I might have misread that, but I just think the little girl just didn't look like she fitted in. Like it looked like a mismatch. She did not look like she was their daughter at all. The little girl, incidentally, I don't know who plays her, but she's a very good actor for her age. Rachel McAdams plays the wife, incidentally. I do like the fact that they use some real world boxing figures. They used the referee Tony Weeks. They used Jimmy Lennon Jr. They used Victor Ortiz had a sizable role as another guy in the gym. Um, Roy Jones Jr. had a brief role as a commentator. So I like that, and I gather that they've taken that from Rocky Balboa, and it worked on Rocky Balboa. Um, so yeah, overall, I'd say it's good. It deals with important issues that are in the world of boxing. As a drama, it's very, very powerful and hard hitting. I would be surprised if this isn't shortlisted for Best Picture. Um, if it doesn't win, it at least deserves to be nominated. There's excellent acting. I think Gyllenhaal is superb. Um, Forrest Whitaker has a strong performance as well. But really, Jake Gyllenhaal is superb. Rachel McAdams, she's not in the film for very long. She's playing the wife, but she does a good job as the sort of concerned wife. And in terms of if you haven't seen the film, or if you've seen the film, in terms of any fighter I can compare his character to, I'm trying to think. I guess there's that gritty sort of side. So maybe Mickey Ward or Turo Gatti, that sort of heart and soul, giving your all, that sort of fighter. But yeah, it's basically an all-round good film, and it is one of the best boxing films I've seen. Um, so I give it 7.5 to 8 out of 10. Um, if I've any critique, it's that there could be a little bit more of the light-hearted side. I mean, I appreciate that they want to show the drama, but it's most of the film. I suspect it's the sort of film that some people will sort of give a chance, and then three-quarters of the way through, I kind of heard some people behind me kind of sighing because it was like one thing after another in terms of the heaviness. But that's realistic. That a lot of real life boxers go through that sort of stuff, but it's it is heavy going, and I think as a director, personally, I would balance it out just a little bit more with some more easygoing things. I mean, there's a line in the film, for example, there's a young prospect in the gym, and he's killed by his father. Now, I don't think that really lends anything to the story because the drama is already heavy enough without adding that to it. So I think it's a little bit too dark at times, just too like I think you need some breathing space, and with this film, it is one thing after another. Um, I mean, like I say, it is an upbeat ending, but that's kind of saved to the last 20% of the film. So personally, I'd like to see a little bit more balance in the film. Anything else, like I say, the daughter just doesn't look like she is their daughter. But that's a very little thing. It's not like a big deal. The soundtrack's pretty good. It's it's adrenaline type music. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Overall, pretty watchable film. I'd recommend it. Well, like if you're watching this video, you've seen it anyway. Let me know your thoughts. Remember, it's just opinion. You don't have to agree with me. If you think it was rubbish, feel free to say why. If you think it was great, feel free to say why. If you've any thoughts, any critique. Do you think Jake Gyllenhaal was good at the role? Do you think he was well casted? Having seen this, I think he was excellent. I really do think that's deserving of at least a shortlist for Best Actor. I mean, he really put his heart into the film, so the other actors didn't have quite as big a role. But yeah, I'd say it's definitely a good film. Um, my only critique, once again, is just that it's a little bit heavy going. Personally, as a director, I'd balance it out just a little bit more, just a little bit. You could still have a drama with some, not necessarily comic relief, but some lighter moments. But yeah, it's worth watching this film. Thanks for watching.